Hi and welcome to the next video in our series on digital content production. In this video we're going to be looking at editing our videos within Adobe Premiere Pro. In particular, how we create transitions and how we work with our sequence. So you can see that I already have my Adobe Premiere project open and ready to go. We have our clips already imported into our project panel, as well as organized in a nice simple structure so we can navigate around that quite easily. We also have our sequence created very quickly on sequences, as if we use the drag and drop method we have used previously, where we drag our video clip onto the timeline to create a new sequence. Those sequence settings have been transferred over from that video clip. For example, if you drag a 4K resolution video file onto your timeline, that timeline is going to be creating a sequence that is at a 4K resolution. You don't always want this. Sometimes you're using 4K so that you can zoom in on it, and you can rescale the video clips within a 1080 timeline. So what we want to do is always double check what your sequence settings are. So we can do this by selecting our timeline, making sure we have our sequence that we want to use open, and click sequence settings. Now within this dialog window we can see a few options, but the ones we just want to double check that are correct: our time base, so our frames per second. 25 is the standard playback frame rate for our region, so that's something that we want to use. The frame size in this instance I have set as a 1080 resolution, so I know that is what my video is going to be outputting at, so this is the timeline that I want to be working at. We also have a working colour space, so if your colours do look off, depending on what picture profile you use, you may need to tweak the colour space, but generally we shouldn't need to consider anything apart from the video resolution and the frame rate of that sequence. I'm just going to OK that. So I'm happy that my video sequence is what I want it to be, and I'm just going to have a little flick through some of these video clips that we've got. So you can see we've got this guy just showing off his skills in a skate park, and what we want to do is put together a very short montage, maybe just something for his Instagram reels or something like that. So we don't want the full length videos, we just want a little short snappy clip showing what he can do. And as you can see, what I'm doing here, just to remind myself what the clips are, I'm double clicking in the project panel, which opens up that source video in our source panel, and I can just use the timeline scrubber just to kind of navigate through it and just see what's in there. Cool. So, and then I think at the top we have our 4K drone aerial shot. So I'm going to start with that 4K shot. I think we're going to open up with a nice 4K aerial shot of the skate park. So I'm going to drag that onto so bear in mind I'm dragging a 4K clip onto a 1080 sequence. So you can see here that it's warning me a clip mismatch warning. So that's warning me that the clip that I am bringing in is different to the settings that we've applied to our sequence. We know it is. We're already aware that we're bringing a 4K clip onto a 1080 timeline, so it wants us to just double check whether we want to keep the existing settings or change the sequence settings. Now for me, and for this instance, we want to make sure that we keep the existing settings. So you can see now within our program window that the video appears to be zoomed in or cropped, or it doesn't fit in within that timeline. So all I'm going to do here, I'm going to check my shot, and I'm going to click effect controls up here. Now the effect controls, this is something we're going to cover in a lot more detail in a later video, but just because we've brought a 4K clip into this timeline now, I just want to very quickly just show you how we're going to rescale that. So a 4K clip is twice the size as 1080. So if we click the scale and just change that to 50, it now fits. And if you look closely within our program window, you can see these little transform handles just indicating that that is the edge of the frame. So that has now filled our frame properly. I'm just going to click back onto the source video, and now we can see that looks exactly how we want it to look. So that's a brief overview of how we ensure our sequence settings match what we want our video output to be.